Welcome to Demolition Success Secrets, the podcast that's changing the game for demolition businesses everywhere. Ever wondered how a wrecking ball wielding industry can leverage digital marketing to dominate their market? Well, we've got the blueprints, strategies, expert guests, and more to show you how. Stay tuned, because we're about to blast through the barriers of your business.
Cool. Welcome, guys. Happy to have you guys all listening. We have a really super ridiculous, awesome guest, someone who's been listening, and really we've already had a good pre-interview. We've talked before, and pretty hard for us to not talk about stuff. It's just very, very easy to talk with him. So just wanted to welcome you on. Tell us some of your background. Tell us how you got to where you are, and then would love to know about the business that you guys are doing in Texas and throughout really your whole territory.
Yeah. So my name's Aron Soto. I work for Demolition. I like to say we're a pretty big scale demolition contractor. We do building implosions. We've done quite a few football stadiums, malls, and but we still do houses. I still got a crew that dedicates to houses. Everything from a 2,000 square foot to a 10,000 square foot house in the DFW area. But I definitely like the open dialect. You had some really good questions, on our pre-meeting, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess tell us your background. We always hear, people start with construction, or they happen to inherit the business,
Yeah.
or I heard recently someone was telling me through their father-in-law, they had a good solid construction business, and they said, well, demolition, the revenues are just way higher. It's very hard to beat some of these large scale companies. So he kind of got it through proxy through his father-in-law. So how did you get here, Aron?
Man, it's I will talk your ear off, right? But it's a pretty
bring it on.
story. So, man, I was going to school for food science, believe it or not. When I found the construction industry, I was working in the restaurant business, and man, at some point I just realized that wasn't for me. And going back home in Irving, Texas, gentleman in the neighborhood that would pay me to rake leaves occasionally and do stuff around the house. Went up to him. I knew he had a construction business, and that was Bobby Lindemuth, the gentleman that actually started Lindemuth Demolition, who has passed ever since. But he brought me on at 19 or 18 to come on and be a laborer. I was like, man, I got to hire another dang kid from the neighborhood. Come on, let's see what you got. I was out there in a water hose, watering for the dust control, hand picking bricks, and eventually worked my way up to a skid steer, man. And I never looked back. I kind of like the accomplishing of a physical work being done. The critical
real before and after.
Exactly. It's a very accomplishing for me. So I got into that. I was like, man, people make money doing this. Like, this is pretty cool, man. So I kind of took on that and slowly worked my way up. But yes, I started in the company as a laborer, started from the ground up. And a lot of these guys now that we hired and come on, they don't even know I can run equipment. But, I ran equipment for many years.
That's cool. That's amazing. Well, what was the hardest part when you came up? Obviously, I would imagine the physical labor and then the ability to get up to the equipment. Were there any challenges or thoughts that, man, the summer heat or being out in the cold, things like that, this just isn't for me? How did you kind of challenge through that?
Yeah, well, the elements are always a challenge. Look, even now I'm working. I got a project in Lubbock, Texas, and been freezing out here, man. I'm not used to this wind. It's definitely something we have to get used to. But that's what we do, man. We try to follow the work wherever it comes. But man, anything else, we really just roll with the punches, man. We like to just take on the challenge head on and deal with the variables as they come. Well, one thing we do is we have a pretty good farm system. So looking back at how I was brought up in the company, and I try to keep that same culture down to the guys that are up and coming now in the business. Hire kids, straight out of college, right out of high school. We'll really get anybody a chance to come in here. One of our safety guys that worked with us for a long time, we hired him. He was the secretary's son, just to come in and be a laborer. Guy was going to school to be a fireman. Turned out to be one of really good safety guy for us when it comes to big projects. So yeah, just really, and I sit him down like, hey man, what do you like? Do you want to be a truck driver? Do you want to be equipment operator? How are How are your emails? How are your skills? Let's put you where you're the strongest. And that's really how we try to structure, man, to try to be successful on a larger scale without having to really micromanage everything.
Yeah. Okay. Love that. That's a good management style. Now, what got you to where you are? Obviously, you started at the bottom, started from the ground, which is very, very common for a theme in this business.
Yeah.
But how long did it take you to get to where you are now? And what were those secrets behind the scenes?
I got thrown into the wolves pretty early, man. I think I showed a little bit of responsibility. You know, I was always my mentor, Bobby Lindemuth, the gentleman that started this business. He kind of took me under his wing, and I was his helper. I was his assistant. For lack of better terms, you know, I was the paper guy, the grease my machine, clean my windows kind of guy. And
Yeah. Get us
and one
lunch.
thing he did say, hey, man, if you're on the ground watering, you're not just standing there watching the dust. You're learning the process. So I
Right.
try to study what goes where, what gets segregated. Why does the concrete go over there and the trash go over here? Or why is that metal getting separated from the aluminum from the iron? And I'd ask those questions. They were always very good at answering my questions. So I think I figured it out pretty early. So at 19, I actually managed my first implosion preparation. That was a year
Wow.
into the business. So when I say I got thrown into the whoops, I did. It was
Yeah,
old
you couldn't even
hospital.
drink.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, you might have been, but you couldn't.
It was a old hospital in Waco, Texas. It wasn't too big. It was a 6-story, and it was the first implosion our company ever really did. Yeah,
Wow,
so I was
that's
actually part of
huge.
the first implosion, and you know, it's a lot of gut out, a lot of preparation. We did our own drilling at that point, and man, after that, I kind of put my name on the map within the Corps, where I was
Mm.
trusted to kind of take on a little bit bigger, more bigger projects, more responsibility, and that's when I started running equipment, and we did a lot of houses back then. I was demolishing houses as an operator, and really kind of worked on the craft of demolition and really try to work on the art of it because I think it's definitely an art.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's like the science of the physics, and obviously, there's different things like the math and all that geometry of it, but
Mhm.
it's fun. Like I've been in the field with my clients and things like that, and it is super cool. I had one of my guys the other day. He sent me him on a wrecking ball, and he said, "Hey, this this is great for the podcast, but also this was right when Miley Cyrus, her whole wrecking ball song
Yeah,
came out
yeah,
years ago." It was so funny. I was just like, "Mike, look at you, man. That's hilarious." And then I showed him the Hulk Hogan one, where Hulk Hogan he lives maybe 30 minutes from here.
nice.
He was on a wrecking ball for what was it, like a GoDaddy kind of domain website thing, and he wore a bikini. So you have Hulk Hogan on a wrecking ball in a bikini for this, viral ad that they did a few years ago. Just crazy. I like that you guys get that art side. Like, it's not just, you think of Hulk Hogan, you think of just muscles and lifting weights, and that's part of it, but he also has the art. And
Yes.
with what you do, you think of being rough, calluses on your hands, being behind the equipment and stuff like that, but also you look at something like an implosion. Especially, I think a lot of people's minds go to Vegas. They think of the countdown, 3, 2, 1, fireworks going off and the building imploding. You guys can have some fun with it, like your physics and science and engineering geniuses that get to enjoy it. It's something that should be celebrated, because usually it's how would you put it? It's a breaking down to rebirth something in certain cases, not always. But what
Sure.
would you say, real quick, Aaron, like percentages of something just being eliminated to eliminate it versus something new coming in its place would
Well,
be?
here recently, we've been doing a lot of work in Austin, Texas, booming with new construction. So I go tear
Oh
down a
yeah.
little tire shop. They build a 13-story residential. Recently did a
Mm,
building across from the governor's mansion. Same thing, another big residential building. And another thing that we do is we also get into the basements. So we won't just demolish the building. We'll go ahead and prepare the basement for the new structure with soil retention and those items as well. So yeah, no, man, we get into a little bit of everything, but implosions sound cool, but they're a lot of work, man. It takes a lot of work.
mm.
Everybody just sees the fun part, the countdown, but there's a lot of logistics, a lot of traffic control, a lot of behind the scenes with the police department, fire department. Here in last October 1st, we did a 3-building implosion close to downtown Dallas in the hospital district of Mockingbird and Harry Hines. Very, very
Okay.
populated area, big hospitals. So when you look at the building implosion, you got road closures. Love Field Airport was close by. You got to do notice to airmen just to let them know that we're going to be imploding a building in their area, especially with 3 buildings. That's a pretty big impact. And, you got to think about the routes for the ambulances. If their main path is the main road, how will we reroute them and have to notify them and make sure everybody's on the same page when it comes to that? So when my wife
Mm.
and kids come and see the implosion, they see the buildings come down, and I'm like, all right, guys, now the work's starting. Now let's start cleaning up, wiping down, get the water trucks running, get the sweepers on,
Right.
So my day's just starting when the building hits the ground and when everybody's clapping and popping the champagne.
That is
But
funny. I don't think a lot of people realize that. General public, where they're like, "Oh, job's done," and they just think it magically disappears. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. Yeah. So and then the cleanup process of a triple implosion, with basements and crawl spaces and parking garages attached to them. It's a feat, man, to process and do all that material. So we do take the time to. I mean, we power wash them beforehand to try to minimize the impact of dust, remove the roofs, anything that can go airborne. We try to remove prior to the implosions, and that's kind of just a process we follow, man, to at least impact the neighborhood.
Okay. Now, how much of an impact is the asbestos testing and abatement and things like that with your day-to-day job?
Oh man, they go hand in hand. So one thing we do is all of our operators, foremen, ground superintendents, they all take the NESHAP class in Texas. It's kind of asbestos awareness. You kind of know what it is for like hospitals. In our case, they do go and do the asbestos surveys to try to find what's there. That is a plan, but they cannot get to every single thing. They cannot get between the brick walls, behind faucets that are, blocked. So a lot of this stuff is found during the gut out process, during the interior demolition portion of the project. So our guys have to know exactly what to look for, what looks like it could possibly be ACM, report it immediately. And that's part of the training that we carry, man. It's part of our hazard analysis and things like that. And also, I'm part of our safety committee at our company. When we get to a certain size, it's almost a committee. Not one person can make all the decisions to really put all our heads together and make the correct decisions on all aspects of safety for us and how we implement them. But it goes hand in hand, man. ACM removal, asbestos, and demolition go 100% together.
Okay, got it. And do you guys, I know it depends on the state. Sometimes people do abatement in tandem with their company, or they'll have sister companies. Is that something that you guys do, or is it an arm's length, totally different entities doing
No. It almost goes hand in hand. So, for example, I've got a big hospital we're doing in Dallas right now. It's still connected to 3 active buildings. One is a children's hospital. So we have to do full structural separations on those to separate the building we're tearing down from 2 column bays out, maybe 30, 40 feet. And we do that all the way from the top to the bottom, complete air gap in there. And in that process, they have to abate it before we can do any of that removal. So it's almost like we do pre-abatement demo, remove the sheetrock, insulation, something light. They build a containment, remove area or anything else that is hot. And then we can come in there and start the actual structural removal. So it's almost like we're swapping, taking turns during the process of abatement. And that's with the triple implosion. It was 3 buildings made 3 completely different ways. So it's almost 3 jobs in one. And they all have their own different variables of ACM that we found that we didn't find in one building. It did in the 3rd building. And the 2nd building was all concrete. And it's very interesting. So that's kind of what we like, man. It needs to be a challenge for us anymore. We've almost done it all, or I won't say we've done it all, but we're pretty experienced, man. I feel really good about kind of what we're at. And we trust our guys to notify us. They find something, hey, man, that's possible. Even if it's non-friable, it's not an immediate danger to the crew, we still address it correctly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, I wonder, we're talking about interior versus total versus implosions, etc. How much is scrap important, maybe to your company and then to the business at large, the industry at large?
Yeah, so scrap is it's a big variable. We did a big bridge in Birmingham, Alabama. We did 2 miles of I-20 through downtown, and it was all steel. So when we proposed, steel was at a certain price. Well, then it crashed pretty hard, so that bids are already in, jobs already ready to perform, and now we're taking a hit on scrap metal. And that happens quite a bit. And and so we just take the scrap into consideration when it comes to the bidding process. We try to implement that a little bit. It doesn't make or break a job, but it's something that, if the owners want to get a little tighter, we can kind of cut back a little bit with the amount of scrap that we predict to be in there. And then you get vandalism. No matter what job it is, people go in there and try to pull any wire that they can.
Now, is that, I assume, I could make an assumption here, maybe some of the listeners is that an issue internal of the team, or is that 100% external, meaning just general citizens, vagrants?
It depends on the neighborhood, man. We've done some neighborhoods that, nothing's touched at all, and we don't even have a night security guard. We might have a couple lights and some cameras. And then there's some areas where they steal the batteries out of my tractors every night. It just really depends on what area of town or where exactly we're working. Yeah, we had a big issue in the southern part of Dallas where almost every day they'd go take the batteries and they wouldn't unscrew them. They'd cut the terminals. So every morning we had a mechanic there. I mean, it was a nightmare, man. It was a nightmare. And we couldn't even hire security to work there overnight. They wouldn't do it.
So, yes. Yeah, I was going to ask that next. All right. You got to hire some dogs, like a pack of rabid dogs.
Oh, man. And like I said, after the first night, they're like, sorry, man, we have to cancel our contract. We can't work on this project. It's very rare. It's very rare. But, if there's anybody that knows about scrap values, copper and whatnot, they tend to break in. And unfortunately, it's becoming more normal anymore.
Wild. Okay. And I've heard even people have passed away, trying to get through to the copper, let's say, electrocuting themselves and stuff. Have you had any like wild instances like that or just crazy, outrageous things?
We've seen items that are hot, 480 power that's been cut overnight. We show up and there's no power. Like, what happens? Well, somebody went in the night and cut it. And thank goodness nobody got hurt. But I'm sure it woke them up. I'm sure it drew their attention to not go back in there anymore. And that's the thing, man. All of our guys carry a tester. They all carry an electrical tester. I carry 2 in case somebody forgot one in their car. And that's what we do. Check it twice with 2 different testers before you cut it. Where somebody from the street might not care and just go in there and try to collect anything to grab $1. But it happens. But yeah, we get past it pretty easy. It doesn't really affect us too much. We try to secure the sites as well as possible. It's mandatory for us to have a construction fence around our jobs. That kind of helps.
Are construction fences? That sounds kind of crazy. And I know it doesn't matter. People would find a way to do it. Is there ever an ability to have barbed wire, or it cannot? Is that a legality type of thing?
We've never put barbed wire on fences. Typically, we just rent, from our local rental fence, and then they put it up.
Right.
We put signs that we do prosecute. We do have signs on all of our projects. The emergency contact. We do prosecute if you're caught inside the job. So that's typically enough to keep the honest people out. It's not a free for all. But if somebody with the ill intentions, they're going to get in there either way.
Yeah, they'll cut through the fence or even, bringing up the barbed wire, they'll put a carpet over it. I've heard of that trick and stuff. Okay, interesting. Do you have any kind of insights as to how you guys grow and scale? So there's a few ways to answer this. I know there's referrals, through word of mouth and relationships. So who are the best people you guys seem to connect with well that help give you guys opportunities or help, perhaps land you opportunities or set you guys up? Who should our audience really consider doing more networking with?
Well, in the early days, it was a lot of word of mouth. Like I said, we were doing a large amount of houses, private work, shopping centers. And then we started getting to the schools. During the summertime, we stay pretty busy with, elementary, middle, and high schools, grade schools. During the summer, they typically it's a pretty fast scale project. So we can tear down while they build back before the school starts. And man, we made pretty good reputation for ourselves, man. We try to be very honest about things. We travel quite a bit, so we have a pretty good presence everywhere we go with a good reputation that follows us. Net 30, pay right away. Anybody that does, any good work for us, we try to make sure they're taken care of, whether it's a field mechanic or a trucking company that's outsourced. So that kind of goes around, man. So if people tend to hear the name of our company, it's affiliated with pretty much a good culture. And we get calls from a lot of the big general contractors in the Texas and surrounding areas. Like, hey, we got this project coming up. Would you mind looking at it or bidding it for us and whatnot? And that's where a lot of our work really does come from anymore. They call our office, go out there, take a peek, put a game plan together, and, give it to the estimators.
Okay. And what really separates you guys in the sales process? Obviously, quality, good reviews, but there's probably other people out there that have similar things. Obviously, you guys are more the elite, but how does it actually pan out? I know pricing is important, of course, ability for you guys to get the job done with past performance to show that you guys know exactly what you're doing. I heard a really good example the other day from a guest. Do you have any kind of like tangible tactics or ways that really help you guys seal deals maybe more often than other companies?
I mean, I think you nailed it. I think it's just the perception of what we bring to the table. When we bring to I personally think me and mine are the best in the business, and it sounds pretty arrogant, to say out loud. But I wouldn't say it if I
but
didn't.
It's a good
believe it.
mentality.
Right. I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. I do believe in my guys 100%. That I can structure a job for them, leave them there on autopilot, whether it's out of town or not, or a local job, and to know that it's going to be done well. The culture we do is we don't cut any corners. Our motto is live safety, not work safety, not on-site safety. It's live safety. So we take it. Hey man, you're driving home, dude. Be careful, man. Put on your seatbelt. Don't get crazy. And that's really what we preach. We preach safety more than anything else. And I think that means a lot. So our safety numbers are very good for that reason, man. That's my main job when I go to a project and gonna go check on things or visit is look at the safety first. And one thing we really take that I think might make a bit of a difference is we try to prevent and assess in lieu of react. So if we got an implosion job, we're going to gut it out completely. We go mark the stairs. We'll go mark the elevators. Hey, no demo, no demo. If you demo that wall, you're going to have an open fall. And we got a crew that's ready to put any barriers, anything we put up prior to the removal of the wall. So if we know it's going to cause a fall, cable goes up before the wall gets removed. So we try to eliminate all the variables of danger prior to being created. And I mean, for us, I think the safest day is day one, the first day we get there, because after that, we're removing walls, removing handrails, removing glass. We're deconstructing the buildings. And so after that, it's up to us to really set the precedent of safety, not just for our team, but for everybody that's going to be on the project, contractors or not. Sometimes we get a little bit of grief being a little pushy against the contractors that hired us, because we try to hold ourselves to a little bit of a very, very strict standard when it comes to the safety of our guides and ourselves.
Yeah, it's so funny because you're like the embodiment of the perfect employee, where you're excited and you're passionate and like you care about the stuff that a lot of people, they'd say, yeah, like safety, yeah, but we're after the money, we're after the job or whatever. It's really amazing how you truly embody.
No, yes, sir. Well, it's hard to go out there and say, hey, yeah, we're going to come into, like, I know before we were talking about a couple of jobs. I don't really want to name drop too much, but a job in Austin, a big basketball arena. One of our biggest was like, yeah, man, look at our safety record. This is what we would implement when it comes to safety. And I wouldn't say it if that's not how we really do. And another project, the big hospital we're doing in Dallas was not too far from my implosion job. So I asked one contractor, hey, would it be okay with you if I bring this other contractor in to walk the site with me? And literally everything I'm selling to them verbally, now they can put it into a physical perspective. And typically we show some videos. Hey, this is what our guardrails look like. This is how we do whatever specific item. But taking it through there and walking them through the project and literally showing them physically everything I've been dictating to them and giving them an ear beating about, they're like, well, no shit. Yeah, that makes sense. Or yeah. It's like, well, how do you manage where your guys are working and where the quickest exit is? Very primal, but just put an arrow on the floor. That's the best way to do it. And we go to the job, we're like, well, yeah, you got it all pathed out. Exactly. That's, main routes are marked on the floor. We do things, try to make them very simple, but methodical, simple items are put into implementation.
Right. Okay. So you guys are really kind of painting the picture, not just a blueprint, not just something on paper, but where you can, obviously, putting a face to a name, going and shaking hands, old school, new school.
Yes, I think personability still goes a long way, man. Going out there and if I, interview process or we get the job or during the bidding process, and I say, hey, I will be on site 3 days a week, and hey, you have any questions, we can get together. Making sure I'm available for that when the bullets are flying, when the job's going. I think that goes a long way, and we get a lot of repeat work for those reasons. Yeah,
that's amazing. Okay, so definitely, and by all means, you're able to name drop, project drop, what have you, please, because your work is really impressive. Those are commercial jobs, right? So we talked about referrals. Do you guys do anything? I don't want to say billboards or radio ads. I know you're not personal injury attorneys, but do you guys do anything paid wise where you're at certain events or at certain golf outings or, what are the paid things that you guys utilize?
So we do a lot of work with the city. They have these events for like minority integration. We go to these events and smaller companies will come by that have something to offer to our industry, whether it's gut out or small groups of personnel, and we'll contract that way to implement, other groups or other companies into our industry on some of these larger scale projects. We are members of the Demolition Association. We mingle with that. National Contractors Association or Hispanic Contractors Association, just anything that can, put our name out there. And a lot of these times we're already kind of known in the neighborhood for the work we do. So we specialize in demolition, but we also have an excavation company that does, some of the bigger basements that we talked about, 70, 80 foot deep basements in,
Crazy.
Dallas. Soil
Crazy,
retention
crazy.
work. Yeah. So I did a project there in the Dallas area. It was 3 12 stories, 3 12-story office buildings torn down and then 70 feet down for the new building. The whole footprint. And that was a feat, man. That has its own challenges. But that's what we do, man. We have a little bit of mixture of everything. We also have a heavy haul company. Jake, the president of the company, him and another partner of ours started this heavy haul division, and man, it has taken off. So that kind of goes together. We go to some jobs. Hey, who brought your equipment? Well, we did. All right, man. We'll kind of sell ourselves, and they'll sell us in some way. But a lot of it is just the time we've been doing it, man. We've been doing it for a little while. The company was already well established when I started. I say maybe 60, 80 employees at that point, very up and coming. We bought our first high reach, I think, when I was 3 years into the business or 3 years into this company.
Opens up a whole world of options.
Yeah. So that definitely opened the doors. It got us to the larger college jobs in UT Austin. We did quite a bit of work back then at UT Austin. And from there, the resume kind of speaks for itself. Hey, we can go to other campuses and say, hey, our guys know how to work in a campus. We know the regulations and the rules, and reach out to them and ask them about us. And we still do work at Austin. Like I said, we're doing a job in downtown Austin now for UT. I did an implosion on the corner of 6th and Lavaca, which is right 6th Street, tourist area of Austin. We managed to do that as well. So yeah, we kind of, like I said, man, we roll with the punches. We're not the smartest guys. We're pretty good at figuring shit out, man. We'll put it together and make it work.
Yeah, you'll make it work. And also too, you're proactive, right? I mean, that was a big thing that I heard out of you so far. It's like, a lot of people, they say, we'll make it work and everything's on the fly. I know that you're saying that as you guys, you put it together, but also you really think it out too.
Yeah.
It's not just, wham, bam, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll make some mistakes here and there and we'll make up for it one way or another. Like, you guys are very methodical and you get the job done, like you execute. And this is funny because it's like kind of old school Texas. Like, even you mentioning, getting out in front of people, letting them know that you're going to be on the work site from a certain amount of time every week. Like, it's a thing about Texas, and I think some Florida, I think some Georgia, maybe the Southeast, and Texas, Oklahoma, that kind of, where it's just like there's still that whole like, I don't want to say good old boy type of thing, because it's not a good old boys club.
That's
but
what
it's
I would
like
call
a real
it, man.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. For the lack of a better term, yeah, the good old boy mentality, man. You shake somebody's hand, yes sir, I'll do it, and you commit to it, man. There's no backing out at that point. It's your word, Then if you don't have a lot to stand on, your word has to count for something. And so yeah, man, we still do that. Like, for example, now our job in Austin, the president of the company is on site running the high reach as we speak.
Crazy.
We were in a meeting. They're like, "Who's going to be your high reach operator?" He goes, "Man, you might see me out here." And
really,
they actually recognize it. They're like, "Yeah, man, when you said that, we thought you were just blowing smoke at us, kind of just telling them what we want to hear. But to come out here and see you out there greasing your machine and wrecking." So we're all very hands on, man. Even like our job foreman, working foreman, the guy's on a tractor. At the end of the day, does his reports. We use a pretty good system for reporting and whatnot. But it's only as good as what they implement, what they put in there. So, we train that from the bottom up. And if I'm on a project, so right now I have a project in Lubbock, Texas, Texas Tech football stadium, working on it. And the guys fell behind a little bit. We had some unforeseen variables that came up. Not too big of a building, nothing too crazy. We found some giant footers.
Okay.
8 foot cube, 6 foot cube, just chunks of concrete that were never expected to be there. So that's why I'm here. We're measuring them to be able to get, of course, compensated for the extra excavation. And also now we have a displacement of dirt. So I'm coming up with a quantity for the displacement so that we can bring in the proper fill, because now everything changed, that we got craters every, 40 centers now where these piers are and these footers are. So things like that. So I can't put that on my guys. I'll come out here and make sure that's all set, taken care of, let them finish doing the work that needs to be done. But, they go to lunch. I'm like, hey, man, let me jump on that loader and load these trucks so these trucks keep running. They still see me.
Yeah.
First one to get there, last one to leave. I'll jump on a tractor just like everybody else. It's kind of part of it, man. It kind of keeps the morale up, keeps everybody on the same page, knowing that. And a lot of these guys that are my superintendents now, general superintendents. I've worked alongside with them for years, so they know we'll all get our hands dirty when the time comes and it's needed.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like the people who sit first class in the plane may also come, back to the back of the plane and mix it up. You have these people who they're like, I'll only sit first class or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's nice, but what happens when the plane's so busy and like you have to be in the back to be able to get home? Are you going to cry about it, or are you going to be an adult and say, hey, I got to go from A to B and let's get it done? I think that's big because it's also for your internal team, as well as you mentioned, to represent to your clients or potential clients, hey, like we're all in this together. I'm sure your owner could be on a yacht somewhere, or some penthouse, or I'm sure your owner is nicely taken care of and things like that. And I know on the job site, people look at trucks and they go, oh, this guy's got. I have a client. What does he have? A Ford Shelby Raptor. I'm usually pretty good with car names and stuff, but it's a Raptor Shelby edition.
Yeah,
and I think it's an F-250, so it's not even the F-150 normal.
Some custom badass rig. Yeah.
It's crazy. Truck. Now, here's the thing that I'm trying to say is that whether it's clients, potential clients, or the team, they look at those things. At least I envision that in one of two things: people either get envious, or people say, "Wow, they must be really good that they earn that." Kind of that good old boys club. I feel like it can go one of two ways, but a lot of the times it's more slanted to that guy freaking earned it. So same for you guys. Like you're showing off to all these various different groups that not only have we earned something, we earned it because we earned it. We weren't given this, and we're continuing to earn it together as a family each and every day. And that transcends, obviously in your embodiment and your approach on the business, but it transcends to the team, the future team, the clients that you're working with currently, and the future clients. And then obviously it helps for repeat business. Like, hey, sometimes I'm going to let the guys drive my truck. It's not just my truck, that kind of thing. Sometimes I'm going to be in the field with the team. It's not just these guys are running it. I'm in the office chilling with my feet up. So I love that. I think that's really cool. How do you guys do with more residential type of work? Let me ask it in two ways. What percentage of your business is more residential, like the houses, or, maybe smaller teardowns relative to these bigger projects? What would you say? Like 80% big projects, 20%, the smaller medium stuff?
Maybe 30-70. We still do quite a bit of houses. We get the calls all the time. But when I say houses, I mean, I'm talking 12,000 square foot, 8,000 square foot.
Texas
these mansions in Texas, these Highland Park, straight lane gateway neighborhoods out there in Dallas that are, these monster properties that are getting torn down to build a bigger mansion. We do a lot of that, but we also still do the, 1,800 square foot houses for the city. Occasionally they'll call us to knock out a couple houses for them for a renovation, or maybe some of the programs where they demo an old house to build somebody a new house through the city. We'll do that. But man, we stay pretty busy, and that same house crew does our smaller scale. We want me to go tear down a McDonald's. You want me to go tear down a burger, some sort of chain restaurant, a small shopping center. We'll do it with the same equipment, like a 320, 330 size machine, Caterpillar scale. And that same crew does the houses, does the smaller scale projects. And when they're not super busy, we'll put them into the bigger jobs as well. I mean, we all kind of interchange the positions of kind of where it goes. But I mean, right now we've got probably a dozen smaller jobs that are ongoing.
Okay. 2 questions on that. First off, does it kill you when you guys tear down a mansion? Like, is your heart kind of just melting when you're like, it's so nice, and they have to put in something nicer? It's nice enough.
I can't afford their lawn, so it is. I just see it like it's another commercial building for us. It's usually part of an estate or something like that for old money family or something. But no, man, it's part of the job. They're usually very, very nice. I mean, we've had some of the bigger names in Dallas where we're tearing down their houses or in addition to their home, come cater lunch for the guys, give them some gift cards or things like that. They're usually very, very generous, very nice people. So it's kind of they I'm sure they did something there to earn their mansion. So I can't take it from them, but it is sometimes. I'm like, God dang, man, that's a 5-year-old house you're tearing down. Yeah, I'm building a putting green and some batting cages for my kids. All right, man, that's a good $5 million you just spent on that, But it's part of it, man. Same
Yeah.
thing when we do a larger scale building, or we do quite a few bridges as well. That's one thing that I don't know if a lot of people specialize in or get into. We do bridges,
No,
man.
it's
We
more
do a lot of
unique for sure.
we do a lot of bridges over water. We have some contracts now that are phased bridges, and like I said, we did that large bridge in Birmingham, Alabama, 4 or 5 years ago now.
Mm.
So bridges have their own variables, but it's a good way to keep guys busy and make a few dollars.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, do you guys have any kind of insights as to maybe why you do more commercial, obviously higher ticket prices, and why you guys still do medium and residential? I think I know some of the answers, but maybe just to share with the audience as to, still respecting the medium and smaller, still respecting residential and things, not just saying, hey, we're going to go 100% to commercial or vice versa. Would love to hear that.
Yeah, well, I mean, residential is very consistent. There's always houses to do. They're always calling. We got a backlog of homes that we could get to if we were available. That's almost our fill-in work. It's always they're sitting on the back burner. Some of these larger scale jobs do take a lot of manpower and a lot of our equipment. So it's sometimes like, yeah, sorry, I can't get to your house right now. There's plenty of people. There's plenty to go around, man. There's plenty of guys in Dallas that go do them if we're not available. But we still get the first call. That's actually a good feeling. We get the first call. And if we're available, we'll definitely get to it. Same thing with the restaurants, shopping center, anything smaller scale for us. The school jobs, we plan those ahead to put a lot of manpower on them. So we might ease off on the houses over the summer to make sure our school projects are, going efficiently and done on time.
No, it's fair. Okay. And I would imagine you guys probably have a good trusted partner or two, or at least referral or two when people call in. You don't want to, be like, hey, no, we're too busy. Bye. Is that right? You probably have some trusted people.
Yeah, some people that we've worked with in the past that or teamed up with them on small jobs. But yeah, if we can't get to it, like, hey man, take a look at this. Do you want to do it? And we'll sub it out to them, even if we run it through us still, but sub it out. It still puts our kind of our. I'll still go by and check on her. Still have somebody kind of make sure it's going well.
Oh, cool. All right. Yeah, even though it's not on your radar anymore, that's nice. Okay. Yeah, that's great, because you guys can be a true resource. Like, hey, unfortunately, we can't help with that. We're busy. We have other projects, what have you. But hey, we'll still be valuable to you,
Correct,
and give you to someone who is valuable, who's trusted. Because a lot of times, frankly, in construction in general, people want you when they need you, and when they don't need you, they want nothing to do with you. And they may tell you, yeah, maybe we'll poke around, we'll give you a bid or whatever, and then they'll blow out the bid. You'll look at it and you'll be like, all right, I got one other bid and this guy's literally double or triple. Like, come on. Just tell me, be straight up with me. And if you had someone good, which I'd hope you would, that you would have at least led me their way, and we could have not wasted each other's time.
Yeah, if I can't do it ourselves and make sure it's 100%, we'll put you with somebody who we trust to make sure it's done correctly. That exactly. That's exactly the process.
That's awesome. Well, cool. I guess we're gonna wrap up pretty soon here. But how does someone in your role feel? The love. I guess what I could say. We have owners of demolition companies here listening. We have management in demolition. We have guys who are just getting started in the business, be it owning or being a contractor, a team member on the ground. What is a good incentive for a guy like you, and then for team members as well? How do you keep people pumped up? Obviously culture, money, but can you give me more of those granular things? I feel like you do a really, really good job with your people.
Yes. So we have our core guys, man. It's getting to the size where I can't sit there. Even guys that I hire, hey man, I got a flat tire. I'm sorry, buddy. What crew are you with? So, well, please call him. So I almost have to take a step back and separate myself just a little bit. But to my core guys, the guys that have been with me for 4 or 5 years, guys that I trust to be on a project by themselves, of course, we go to Rangers games. Take the guys to Rangers games. Definitely, buy lunch every time we're available. Keep morale up, man. Gift cards, anything that I know they're into. Like our guys, some guys are into hunting. Some guys are. I got a guy that's like a really good chef. Guy makes like gourmet breads, sourdoughs, and whatnot. So if something comes up, man, cool. I got like a cool kitchen knife, something that's personable, but still. But one thing we do keep straight is business is business. I love you like a brother. We might go after and drink a beer, but if we have a disagreement, we have a disagreement. Business comes first through all. And a lot of the time, the guys that fit our culture and are with us side by side completely understand. Like, hey, man, this is the deadline. If we have to stay late, we have to stay late. And if I have to stay with you, I'll be the last one to lock the gate. So I think being personable to the guys that are the management, and even, if I'm on a project, I say hi to everybody. Hey, man, how's it going? Good. What do you need? I don't go around, hey, man, why don't you have your gloves on? Hey, bud, do you need new gloves? And that's kind of the way I try to approach things, and our team tries to approach things. It's in lieu of like, why are you late? Hey, man, do you have money for your tire? Kind of situations like that. And we just try to have open conversation, completely transparent. We never try to misguide anybody. Hey, man, you're going to be going out of town for a week and it turns into a 3-week job. We're 100% transparent. Hey, man, this is what's on the table. This is the compensation for it. You'll get an end of job bonus if you get it done in this time. And that usually, it's what keeps the morale up, man. And guys are very happy to really do well, and the culture that we put together, especially in the safety side of it. If there's a minor injury or near miss, we take it seriously. We do a job shutdown, really address that portion of the business. And I think that's what matters. Guys see, and the field sees, these guys generally do care about my well-being. And if we have we try not to get too personal, but the guys that we do know, hey, man, this is going on. I have an issue with a family member, man, we'll pitch in. We'll all pitch in and try to help out any way we can. I think it keeps the personability there. But when it comes to business is business,
Yeah, no, I feel that. Like, it's with you guys, it's crazy because a lot of people would say, business, period, end of story, like that's it. And it's a good short-term tactic, to be a little bit conniving, and your personal life is your personal life, whatever. Here we got our suit and tie on, so to speak. But it doesn't work, I don't feel, long term. Like, it makes people despise you. It makes people try to backstab you, and that's where you have the issue of people going for an extra $10 an hour or $5 an hour versus with you guys. And I know you must have seen this in your career. You guys are long haul, like we're going to a certain destination, and it's very kind of tried and true. If you're going to get off the train, we'll say, that's fine. But like, we're going further than that next train's going. Like, you're only going to get up to, let's say, Oklahoma, and we're going all the way up to Canada. I don't know why you'd want to go there, but
yeah. No, I know what you're saying. No, exactly, man. We're definitely in this for the long run. Every guy that we bring in and hire, whether it's an operator, like, hey, man, my job is to make sure you take my job one day. It's up to you whether you get there or not. Complacency, excuse my French, but man, give a fuck goes such a long way. Just somebody who shows up and cares, who shows up and maintains their equipment, cleans their windows, somebody that shows care for, the tool they're using goes a long way for us. Our truck drivers, man, they wash their trucks about every other day. Keep them shiny, polished wheels.
Wow.
It's kind of the culture. Man, check out the website, Demolition.net. You'll see a lot of our pictures there, a lot of our trucks. Jake, the president, he takes pride in it. He was a truck guy. We say he's more of a truck guy than a demo guy. We make jokes. We're going to put Peterbilt on our tractors to get some use, But he's also a high reach operator. So he's definitely super involved in every aspect of it. My partners Andy and Brian. I mean, everybody's we're dedicating our lives to this. And when we make the joke, like, boys, we're in our prime right now. If we're not doing this shit now, when are we going to do it? Let's get on it. Look at it head first and go for it. And so far, man, we've had very good success, man. We all trust I trust these guys with my life. And I think that goes a long way. My livelihood does depend on a lot of their decisions and theirs on mine. So we have that mutual agreement, and we're all 100% in, on what we're doing right now. And that's what I tell my guys. If you're not going to give it 100%, don't waste anybody's time. We don't cut corners. Right's right, wrong's wrong. And that's really the only way to see it.
Yeah, I love that. No, I think it transcends clearly. Like, there's a lot of companies out there, especially in demolition, construction, excavating, trucking, what have you, where it's like, how long is this going to last? Versus with you guys, if they play their part, they're not worried about you guys playing your part. It's kind of cool. Like, a lot of companies, frankly, these days, it's employee versus employer, employer versus employee. It sounds like you guys truly, truly, truly embody, we're on the same page, man. Like,
yes, sir.
We're here to help service you to have a better life. And you're here not necessarily to help service your, high level team to have a better life so they can get another Rolex or a bigger truck or whatever. But it's like, you know, we're helping these communities, and we're allowing to like have that rebirthing process of new buildings and things like that. Like, you're really architecture of a community. You know, you're shaping communities, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure. Yes.
And it's like some California type of thing. It's like you guys are organic or gluten-free or something. You guys actually get it, is what I'm trying to say.
We do recycle. We are green, you know, but we don't take it that far. We're still some good old Texas boys, man. You know, that's really the end of it. A bunch of good old Texas boys got together, you know,
not all driving cyber trucks,
and followed old man's, you know, dream, and then we're putting it to fruition for him. But cool. Don't get me wrong. I got my F-250, you know, got my tires on it, whatnot. But I also got a fuel tank and toolbox. You know, that's my work truck. I put it to work. And so that, and you know, we hunt, we do things to kind of bring morale up. You know, we take guys out to the range, we'll go chase some hogs or some deer, and you know, just keep everybody together. And I think those are the times that guys really get to know each other on a personal level, and and really get to like a brotherhood. And we carry that over to work, and you know, and it goes down the lane, man. Like I hired a kid out of Tarleton State. We were out there tearing down some dorms. He saw us, got our phone number from the side of one of our trucks, graduated, called us. We had him as a shop hand, just helping clean grease and mop. And I'd go into the office, and hey man, take me with you, man. I want to go to the field. Nah, kid, you're gonna get yourself hurt. Finally, come with me. Dude turned out to be one of the best superintendents we've ever hired. I mean, this guy
really.
I saw him get his first little truck, then get him a little F-250, then bought him a house, then got his gauge. I mean, I just love to see that stuff, man. I love to see it develop. Now he's married, got a baby and stuff, you know, but I've known the kid since basically graduated college, and to see him develop through the company the way, you know, we do, that's what our farm system's about. You know, we want everybody to do very well for themselves in the process of learning. I mean, I call it Lindenwood University. This is where I learned it. Of course, you know, I went to safety classes at NESHAP and whatnot, you know, even some structural engineering courses just to put things into perspective when we do stuff. But, you know, when we do that, we do a lot of teaching. We spend the money on the TEXO classes, on the safety awareness, on the NESHAP, on the structural integrity of buildings. And I think that goes a long way, knowing that the guys know that we're investing back into them. We got a couple guys that we put them through school at, you know, UT to get their co-show safety courses, you know.
That's cool.
So, and that's on the clock, you know, so they know we're spending money to invest into them. And in return, you know, we really just ask for your effort, and your dedication. And, you know, won't ask you anything to do anything I wouldn't do or haven't already done. So it's all very, you know, we try to structure it to where we put everybody in their strongest position to be as successful as possible, and it's worked out. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that, man. I could keep on like kind of buttering the biscuit for you guys. But
I'll talk your ear off, man. I will give you an ear.
No, it's great. And we might need you guys to, you know, or request that you guys come on for another episode or something like that, because we I don't think we released that yet, but we do have people who are going to become more regulars, who are going to come on for maybe consecutive episodes, just because it's fun. And people, you know, just like me, people like to talk shop, and I think the business is interesting. The people that get attracted to the business are interesting. There's a lot of really, really great people, like with what you guys are doing. There's a lot of very interesting, conniving, maybe not the greatest people out there as well in the business, but that's in everything. I don't care if it's the car business. I don't care if it's selling guns, selling groceries. Well, I mean, anything. Definitely have met some characters in the business. Let's do maybe 3 things that you wish you knew prior to getting involved in the business that you now know that you could transcend to your younger self, or to maybe some of the audience that's listening.
Sure. So, I mean, one of the things coming up that I always thought, and I guess just from age, man, just maturity was showing pretty strong, is I'd go to a project and I would think that the general contractor was the know-it-all. They had all the answers. They, you know, and a lot of times it's a conversation that needs to be had, especially when it comes to means and methods. Experience goes a long way. Another thing is engineering. Engineering is very critical for the demolition of the modern day. Some people don't like to say it. It costs money, but if you want to do something right, man, engineering goes a long way. We teamed up with, I mean, what I would say the best engineers in the business, Sigma at Las Vegas. Those guys are made of gold. They put a lot of things into perspective, and even open conversation to somebody who's experienced in the demolition industry, just to have that open talk, like, hey man, I've got these ideas. Is that doable? And they're like, yes, it is. this is what you have to do. Add some shoring, add some this. Now you can get a bigger piece of equipment in there. And, you know, for the general contractors, like, hey, we're doing a building gut out. I want to gut it out with skid steers. Well, will that floor hold you up? Well, now I got a piece of paper from a stamped engineer that says, yes, it will. And this is why. And this is the backup for it. You know, so that kind of gives us the extra security to add to the safety aspect of it. You know, yeah, we could put it up there, see if it holds, but what if it doesn't? You know, so now we have the backup to go with it. And then the third, man, be personable. Be personable.
Yeah.
I see a lot of guys get nervous. They go to a sub meeting and they get real nervous or jittery, and they're kind of scared to speak what they have in mind. They kind of just follow the lead of what's going on in the room. Where I think it goes a long way to be like, no, guys, this is actually not doable, and this is the reason why. And to add a fourth one, no cutting corners, man. Cutting corners is the evil of demolition. That's what
interesting.
That is what I say. Cutting corners is our industry is dangerous enough if we do everything right. The variables that happen in deconstructing a building, whether a piece of iron is not bolted correctly or didn't get welded right, you know, the variables are so immense. If you do everything correctly, that if you cut in corners, something will happen. And that's just the attitude we have. No cutting corners because something will happen. So it's yeah, man. But that's what we try to push on our guys every day, and that's how we try to carry ourselves. And I'm hoping a lot of other companies do the same thing, take safety as a priority, and you know, kind of go from there. But yeah, man, I could talk to you all day.
Yeah, no, man, it's fun. I love that. Let me ask you real quick on the cutting corners. Maybe could you give us an example or two of the common corners that people will cut that they really shouldn't? Maybe that you guys see out in the field.
Yeah, I definitely do. So a lot of, you know, when it comes to rigging, when it comes to crane removal, we do a lot of specialty work, remove crane work from the top of buildings. Everybody tries to pick the biggest pieces. Sometimes it's safer to pick two. You know, just it might take you another 30 minutes. It might cost you another $1,000 with the crane, but you have the security of it being done correctly. When we do, and that's another thing. We can get into many topics, but we do a lot of tripping of buildings. We trip buildings. Take the structure integrity of the columns, let gravity kind of take its course.
Sure.
Or give it a little tug to kind of get it going. And a lot of times, people don't think about, you know, gravity or the impact that's going to do. Man, we'll go wrap everything up in geofabric. We'll protect it, and to kind of protect the public. I drive by a lot of projects where, man, I drive by and dust covers my vehicle. You know, I'm like, man, I wouldn't dare do that, man. I'd go to jail if I did that. But a lot of other companies try to get away with things like that. You know, it's all not just protecting ourselves, but also protecting our public nearby. You know, especially if we're working near a school or working anywhere like that. Make sure the extra precautions are there to mitigate the dust, to keep everything down and you know, secure by the end of the night. But yeah, man.
Cool. Love it. Any other last little bits of wisdom or knowledge before we finish this episode? Again, it's an open door. You're always welcome to come on for another few episodes by any means. Anything that comes off the top real quick before we end up?
Yeah, no, I was listening to a couple episodes previously, and I've heard people kind of beat up on electric equipment, which we don't love it. You know? But yeah. It has its purposes, man. It does have its purposes. I mean, it might not be the most useful thing for a certain job, but we use them a lot indoors, man. We do a lot of indoor work where we got to gut out the 5th floor of a hospital. So we do it with electrical equipment for no emissions and things like that. You know, I think like every tool has its purpose out there. And we you know, there's just there's so many ways to skin a cat, you know, but what's the fastest and most efficient is really where we're at.
Okay. Got it. Cool, man. Well, I know you mentioned the website. Please feel free to promote, and also who should reach out to you guys. You know, who's a good fit and how do they reach out to you guys so they could at least get an estimate or maybe partner up on something with you guys?
Man, we do it all, my friend. We do it all. Like I said, we still do houses, shopping centers, malls, hospitals, schools, football stadiums. We've done now 10, 11 implosions that we can count on. So, man, if anything they need anywhere, give us a call. I mean, we've done some work in Nashville Airport. I mean, there's really no limit for us. We travel, we follow the work, and try to leave a good product when we're done.
Okay. Best phone number and website? Yeah,
lindemutdemolition.net is our website. 972-721-0898 is our office number. And we're in right in Irving, Texas, right in the middle of Dallas and Fort Worth. And yeah, man, same thing for heavy haul. The heavy haul guys are same thing, best in the business, man. These guys are kicking ass. They're doing great. There's more trucks than equipment. No, I wouldn't say that. They got quite a few trucks out in the yard. They're doing a really good. Those guys are really good, man. They're doing their stuff. But yeah, man, anything you guys need in the demolition industry or trucking industry, basements, heavy civil division, bridges, feel free to call us. We're definitely be interested in looking at it.
Okay. And should they reach out to you when they call or reference you or just the whole team obviously could take care of them, but would it be helpful or advisable for them to ask for you?
Yes. We get a lot of calls that ask for me. I'll kind of direct them in the right direction or try to get the information to pass it on to the correct person. We got guys that estimate the bridges. We got guys that estimate the buildings, small buildings, dirt work, combination work. We have pretty good behind the scenes team put together that works. We have a whole permitting division just for permits. I mean, even in Dallas,
there are months of those permits.
Every city has its own regulations. It's not county. It's by city. So we have a great lady in the office that has a relationship with just about every city office with the permitting department that, can expedite it for us. And that's the thing, man, just trying to be nice and try to be personable and, doing right, kind of taking us in the right direction. And then we kind of take pride in that.
That's awesome. All right, cool. Well, we're going to stay on the line, but everyone, thank you for listening. Another awesome, stellar episode. It's been a few weeks in the making, but it was well worth it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, man. All right, guys, we're going to sign off. Have a great day. See you guys.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for this episode of Demolition Success Secrets. Stay tuned and subscribe for more explosive insights from our upcoming episodes. Until then, continue to blow up your demolition business and make the competition rubble in your path.